In 1989, you started a nonprofit organization, Compass Institute, with your wife, Dr. Pamela Toole. You've spent the 20 years since working in youth development and educational professional development and research. Some of the topics about which you develop programs, train, and write include service learning, social entrepreneurship, youth leadership, social change, organizational development, evaluation, program design, and peacemaking. What inspired you to focus on such diverse topics, and where is your focus currently?
Okay. When I was a grad student, one of my friends was a professor in the School of Social Work, Jerry Beaker, and he was asking me how I like grad school, and I said, well, I love it, Jerry, but a minister had told me a long time ago that you can't get to heaven by reading books. And he smiled and he says, as a Jew, you're already in heaven. And so I think part of it is that I just absolutely love to learn, but it would be very empty in my mind to just read books. And it's driven really by the sense I have of the pain of the world, that wherever you look, I sometimes think that I'm afraid to look in the New York Times. .com. I'm afraid to open up the newspaper to see what's happening in the world. And I think the world always calls you to learn more. And we all have our gifts and different things we do. And the thing that really I felt could be my niche is I really like to go out and explore in diverse ways. I like to read in very wide different fields and bring things that people may not be thinking about and put them on the table. Again, this conference I'm doing, what international relations has to teach service learning. I would guess that's never been done at a national conference before. One that's a little more common is I'm doing another workshop on whoever tells the best story changes the world. Also, I've been doing workshops on systems thinking, which is, again, more unique. So what happens to me is on any particular project, you're walking along and you're using your skills, and all of a sudden there's a hole there and you fall in and you realize that if I don't learn this, I can't help these people. And an example would be really what I've been most excited about the last 5 years is I've had the great honor and privilege of working with an incredible team at Youth Action Net at the International Youth Foundation. And starting 5 or 6 years ago, I started facilitating a 6-day retreat in which we bring together 20 leading youth leaders in their 20s, selected from over 800 applicants, all of which have started NGOs or non-government organizations, really groundbreaking. And that's been such a challenge to me to figure out what they need and what I need to know. And probably the latest example of that, I had the opportunity in July to train Arab youth leaders in their 20s who had won the King Abdullah Youth Social Innovation Award. And King Abdullah of Jordan had wanted to foster social entrepreneurship among this generation of large generation of Arab youth. And so I got to go to Amman, Jordan. And really, I can tell you every single thing that you read and everything I've learned through all my different investigations I used in that retreat. And I came home and realized I've got another year to learn more things to go back and offer more. Because the headroom between what we know and what the world needs will, till the day we die, will always be tremendous. My latest is I've really been investigating business models and business plans. Because if you're starting an organization in your 20s, I'll give you one quick example. In Palestine, my friends Kalani and Lana, they, along with a Canadian, invented Souktel. And the situation in Palestine was that if you wanted a job, you would have to go through 2 or 3 Israeli checkpoints and pay a fee, so to speak, to get there if you were a male. If you were a female, you weren't allowed to go out of the house and look for a job. Clearly a social problem. And so what they came up with is that people don't all have internet access in Palestine, but they all have cell phones. So they figured out a software, an app, where you could put your CV up and people could find you if they were looking for employees, and then companies could advertise jobs and they would you could find them. I think they paired something like 6,000 different people. And what's happened is it's been so successful that the Red Cross uses their application in order to contact blood donors. And the YMCA has a program in every refugee camp in Palestine, and they have had trouble beforehand contacting people about what programs were happening. So they use Souktel too. And it's a wonderful piece. And so when you hear those stories and the circumstances under which they work, that's such an inspiration. Then they go back and interview more people, read more books, wake up in the middle of the night with a thought and write it down in order to provide something that might be more helpful.
Social enterprise.
Social enterprise, social entrepreneurship.
Yeah.